Well, a lot of real estate agents spent the weekend telling social media what they think will happen to the housing market under the terms of a settlement with the National Association of Realtors. Libby Levinson-Katz with the Denver Metro Association of Realtors says it may be best to slow the roll.
It's just too early to know. I think there's been a lot of headlines, there's been a lot of conjecture, but I really think it's going to take quite a few years for this to all really settle in.
The headline is the National Association of Realtors agreed to settle a lawsuit accusing the trade group that owns the term realtor of price fixing when it comes to commissions. Traditionally, the agent for the seller charges a 5 to 6% commission on the sale, splitting the total with the buyer's agent. Under the terms of this settlement, which still needs approval from a judge, selling agents will no longer be allowed to advertise a buyer's commission on the multiple listing service. Some say that makes buyer's agents' commissions negotiable, but realtors say they've always been.
There are some consumers that maybe didn't understand that there were other options available to them, and now there's much more transparency.
A lot of headlines about this deal say it will lower housing prices since sellers will no longer be expected to pay a buyer's commission.
I don't think so. At the end of the day, we have a supply and demand issue.
Both Levinson-Katz and DU finance professor Ron Throop say not so much.
You're moving the cheese around, right? Who's paying for the pieces? And does the seller think about, well, I'm selling it for, it's worth $800,000. Well, oh no, I'm only paying 3% commission. Now I'm going to cut that number.
One potential fallout Throop worries about, the impact on cash-strapped buyers who might have to come up with money to pay their agent and increasingly large down payments.
I think it's going to hurt buyers because they're going to be asked to pay money unless they can get it rolled into the closing costs.
Levinson-Katz says it's still way too early to even think about the impact on buyers, but she does worry about representation for first-time home buyers making the biggest purchase of their lives if they're unable to afford an agent. Bottom line, there's still a lot to be worked out here. Just some concerns, especially as the market has gotten as wild as it has in the last few years for people who are entering in. Could it be even more expensive, and will there be some sort of solution for first-time home buyers to try to
the
figure
cheese
this out?
is moving everywhere.
It's moving everywhere. I love that.
So, I mean, we think about what this means to buyers and sellers. What about the industry? What about those people, many people we know who've become realtors, who've jumped into this business because it was so healthy, now have to really adjust?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of agents who wonder if this means some people who've jumped into the business maybe only do a couple transactions a year, may not be able to sustain this long term, especially if they're in the buyer side and they're not getting that promised 3% commission. So you might see a little bit of thinning, but you also might see some agents kind of jumping in, deciding to offer something different now that this kind of traditional commission isn't around there. Yeah.
Wow. Well, at this time, it is, and when you think of those first-time home buyers, that's a lot to think of.
Yeah.
You have to factor in all this extra money then if you're going to make that leap.
And you think about it, if you're trying to avoid PMI, you have to put 20% down on a house, and you think about the housing prices that we've seen lately, in some cases, you got to put close to $100,000 down on a house.
Who has that?
Who has that, and then who can pay a commission of 3% of that up front?
Well, we'll learn a lot. It's going to certainly be something that's in motion for a while, so we'll follow up on it. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Steve.
Yep.